Gracie from Backstage Features. Thank you so much for taking the time for me today.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Yeah, well, first off, congratulations on the film. I watched it and I absolutely loved it. It's the perfect mix of being heartfelt while still very entertaining with the heist. So, talking about that, the film does give so many amazing action sequences, but as a director, was it hard to make this film while still trying to be realistic to the riots that happened in that era and still trying to not be insensitive in a way?
Because every movie you're making is hard. So this specifically movie was yeah, it was kind of very hard because it was, you're right, it was very sensitive in subject matter. It was done, still during COVID, which was like a whole process of like, a different world of a production and a vibe and a tone on set. We had to, you know, shoot the film in different locations and eventually, and shooting in Los Angeles itself. So that was also very sensitive. But in terms of just story line between making a heist film and a true event story, that was kind of, to an experience that you had to be sensitive on both because you had to be sensitive on keeping, the right points of a genre movie, of a heist film, which has its own rules. And then the other hand, you have like almost a melodramatic, father and son's relationship within a historical day that has a lot of weight. That you had to maintain that tone as well. So that mix, I think, as a director, that was my constant challenge, and to just keep that tone coherent within the entire story, not just shifting between, okay, now it's an action moment and now it's the father and son talking in the kitchen. They both had to have the same intensity throughout the film.
Definitely. Was there a most rewarding day for you on set? Obviously, you said you went through a lot of challenges, but what are you most proud of or feel most rewarded for?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because when you're making a film, every day is like it's like a world of its own from beginning to the end.
Yeah,
And you are constantly going through, trying to make the right choices, try to deal with the eruption of fires that you need to distinguish. So it's like it's a constant, convoluted emotional train that just doesn't stop. So I think the most rewarded day on set on this movie, I mean, it was definitely a day that we shot, or at least emotionally, when we shot actually on the street of South Central,
no,
in Crenshaw, and we had, I don't know, I think at that time about 300, 400, even more. We had quite a lot of extras. I don't remember exactly that amount of extras, but and we were shooting like that moment of the first clash with the police and the moment that basically the entire police force got the call to retrieve, and you see the police officer retrieving and running back into the car. And it was like just a moment in the film. But that specifically moment was a tough shoot, and even rewarded because we really made it within the ground, and it was like creating history on the ground, that it was actually created with actually the people from the hood, that most of them were participate in the original riot. So it's like I want to call it rewarded, but that was like definitely a moment that I definitely remember. That was a
definitely.
big day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just the cinematography of that shot is crazy. So I can imagine what it was like with that many extras on set as well.
And the entire neighborhood circulating you.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing there?
You know what? Good on you for getting the shot because it turned out fantastic. But I do want to ask, how do you find the mix of storytelling while still making this character storyline and story arc continue at a good pace? Because these characters do go through a lot, and it's hard to kind of cram that into the time frame that you had for this movie.
Yeah, it's I think it's like, it's the cinematic tool that any director should use when you have that is like you need to treat every scene, that is, if there is, that it's a part of that suspenseful, clock that's running in the background. So even if it's a father and son talking in breakfast, and it's just about what are you going to do after school, and you should be careful. I mean, it could be the most redundant moment, but then there's a way to bring attention to that scene that you don't know much about those characters, and it's going to erupt. The same thing can go between scenes of of suspense that the rhythm is kind of like given to you by the script, but then you're going again into a scene of two characters as just talking, whether I'm we are two different people, like when Christopher and Dylan were talking, Antoine and Dennis, and they have a moment between them, and that moment could basically be destroyed in an instance. Just Lola's coming in and listen to them. So it's it was just like one of those. In the back of my mind, I constantly said them. It doesn't matter if it's two characters just talking. You need to feel the tension, and you need to feel that something is gonna erupt it or destroy it or surprise it, even if it's not. And you kind of like you play the same chord, music, and you're just like going between the keys, but you're keeping the same tonalic melody on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like family is a huge part of this film, but also obviously the heist. That being said, if you had to pick one of your family members to do a heist with, which one would it be, and what do you guys think you would steal?
uh, Probably my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom should probably have the right ideas. What we will steal if it's my mom involved? Mm, Probably some good art.
Okay. She's into art.
Yeah, we'll go to the Louvre. Yeah, we'll
But
get
I
we'll get some good painting. Just to have them. We're not
just to
gonna.
have put them in your living room. Yeah.
Yeah, we know it's not gonna be business, but if like you ask me already going on a heist, it's probably gonna be an art heist
Fair enough. At least you'll have good stories to tell about the art as well.
with my mom.
Yeah, with your mom. Yeah. She'll be the mastermind
I
behind
should
it.
know what to pick. I would be perplexed. Yeah.
My last question for you. What do you hope that people come out of this theater with after watching it?
This interview is funny. You throw me through like emotions, like I'm getting very giggly into. It's like I gotta go very heavy. Um,
I gotta keep you on your toes.
I just hope that people will walk out of it with a feeling of that that each one of us has a choice. And it's really, life is really about taking the choice in the moment on the day. It's not even a choice about the future that you can take and then act in the moment. But in this movie, because it's so timely over such a compressed timeline, it's the choices that we just take as we're going along. So I think people need to understand that, it's not about following, it's not about doing the right. It's like, what is my choice and how one's choice can affect everything, whether he
Yep.
does this or he goes there, like negative or positive on that moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on everything again, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.